Remember that the bulletin is streaming live on Facebook at Starr 103.5 FM. You can also join us with your thoughts and comments on 055-288-0216. Again, it's 055-288-0216. You're welcome to the campaign trail. Welcome once again to the campaign trail. As I already told you, my guest is seated in the studios. Nana Kwaku Agyemang. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Empire Agric Limited. Nana, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
And a hemp evening to all your listeners.
What's hemp evening? What does that mean?
Well, it means, like you would say, good evening.
Right.
I've replaced the word with hemp. It's a
Is that patois?
hemp cavalry. No.
It's just your own terminology.
Yeah, it's a hemp cavalry.
Right.
Yes.
Right. I see. Nana, we were discussing the topic for the discussion, I found it very interesting that galamsey is affecting the production of cannabis in the country. First of all, let's understand one thing. What does it take to grow cannabis?
Well, of course, you need land.
Mm-hmm. That's primary.
Yeah, you need land. Mm-hmm. You need a good irrigation system.
Okay.
Even though cannabis doesn't really require as much irrigation as other traditional crops. Mm-hmm. Of course, you'd have to prepare your land. And, you'd have to go through the same routine as if you were cultivating high-value crops.
Okay.
But cannabis is much more sustainable. And so, our climate is perfect for it. And even if it doesn't have water for a few weeks or so, it will not be affected. It will still grow. So, it's a tough plant. It's a very tough plant.
Okay. Can anybody grow cannabis?
In the scheme of things, yes, of course. Anyone can grow any plant, I guess. But in terms of the law, no.
Okay.
Because there is a law that guides the whole thing. There's regulations there that guides everything. And so until you have a license to cultivate cannabis, you shouldn't really be cultivating it. If you do cultivate it, it will be against the law. I think what's important to note is that when we talk about cannabis, there are two different species of cannabis. What has been approved by the law is what we term industrial hemp. It's also cannabis, but basically it has a low THC level. Now, THC is tetrahydrocannabidiol. It is the compound that gives you the high, as it is described, when, you smoke the cannabis. Now, with industrial hemp, that cannabis, you don't really smoke because it doesn't possess that high THC. The THC level in industrial hemp is 0.3, so it's negligible.
Okay.
It's not for recreational use, but it can provide lots of different commodities, and I brought one or two to show you as well, like charcoal, like wood, textiles. It can make everything plastic. It can do so many things, paper. In fact, it can make this building. This entire building can be made out of industrial hemp. It's called hempcrete. And once you cultivate the hemp and you harvest...
Hempcrete?
Yes, hempcrete.
Does it replace concrete?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's very interesting.
And it minimizes the carbon footprints as well. It's very good in terms of the environment. So, it's wonderful. So this entire building can be made out of hempcrete. Your studio can be made out of hemp because everything plastic can be made out of hemp. The wood you have here can be made out of hemp. The clothes you are wearing can be made out of hemp. The shoes you are wearing can be made out of hemp. Everything can be made out of hemp. There's 50,000 different uses. Even the water he has just provided, you can make that out of hemp. You can have cannabis-infused water, CBD water. I've brought some to show you
and
too.
It won't make you high.
No, it
won't. Of education.
No, it won't make you high. You're missing the point. Hemp, industrial hemp, has a THC of 0.3. that cannot make you high. It's negligible.
Mm.
For you to get that high, you're talking about recreational cannabis stroke medicinal cannabis that has a THC content of between 5 and let's say 25%. As for that one, you can take it as in a gummy and different edibles. You can cook with it. Yes, you may feel some psychoactive buzz if you like. But with industrial hemp, no, there's nothing like that.
Okay. Now, you said that cannabis or the industrial hemp
Yes.
has over 50,000 users.
Yes.
Okay. Just how important is it? I want you to paint a picture. Just how important is that to the country in terms of revenue generation?
It's very important to the country, and you can generate, well, for government, it's going to generate a new revenue stream, that's for sure.
Okay.
Because you have export licenses, import licenses, you've got license for transport, license for storage, license to cultivate, license for research and development, license to advertise, license to process, license to manufacture. These are all fees that are going to the government. And when you want to import as well, there's a duty that you pay for importing, and there's a duty that you pay for exporting. And so it creates a whole new revenue stream for government. So in terms of that, it's very, very good. On top of that, look, job creation. It can create direct jobs and indirect jobs. Numerous.
Okay.
Numerous. Too numerous to count.
Okay.
So the benefits for government, the benefits for our society are vast. And as we are here with this topic of galamsey, this is where it beats everything. Because, look, the land that has been poisoned, let's say in the western region, with cyanide and mercury and all those other toxic chemicals, when you cultivate industrial hemp on those lands, over a period of years, you will actually reclaim those lands because industrial hemp absorbs the toxin from the soil.
Okay.
So all those places that have been ruined so far, farmers are looking at those places. They can't go there to cultivate any longer, any high value crops. What we would like to do is go there and cultivate industrial hemp. And over a period of a few years, all the toxins will be gone from that soil. And then you will be able to return to that soil, farmers will be able to return to that soil and cultivate high value crops. It's the same with our water bodies, believe it or not. A combination of dredging and various other applications. You cultivate industrial hemp on the banks of those rivers, the Ankraba River, the Pra River, and you will see over a period of time that the industrial hemp will clear those water bodies and they'll become potable water once again. It will take several years, but what I'm telling you is a fact. And I'll give you an example. In Chernobyl, about 35 years ago, there was a nuclear disaster. I think a reactor blew or something like that, and so there was radiation in the air. It killed everything for miles. And what they had to do was cultivate industrial hemp right around that infrastructure for miles. And that industrial hemp absorbed all the radiation. And today, Chernobyl is now a tourist site. So that's a clear example of what industrial hemp can do. So far from galamsey being a problem for industrial hemp, it's not.
Okay.
It's
I
not.
just want to understand. I mean, I find this conversation very interesting because I'm learning a lot. But on the average, how much does industrial hemp, or how much will it potentially end the country?
Well, I mean, I can't say. It depends, doesn't it? Because, when you cultivate industrial hemp, you have to have an off-taker. The off-taker, by and large, is outside of the country. So, we're not talking about selling industrial hemp in Ghana.
Okay.
We're talking about selling it abroad. So straight away, the revenue that is generated is foreign exchange. It's either pounds, euros, or dollars. Straight away, that shores up our bank balance here, doesn't it? With that type of revenue coming into the country. So I can only say in principle that it will do an enormous amount of good for Ghana. But I can't give you the specifics. None of us have started cultivating officially yet
Okay.
because we are still waiting for our licenses. But what is clear is cultivation for export will generate foreign exchange for this country. It will shore up the bank balance of this country and shore up the city as well.
You say you're still waiting for your licenses. How difficult has it been for you? Has it been a difficult process?
Yeah, well, it's been years because you see, just in the same way that we have to, I'm speaking to you and it's educating you, we have spent years trying to educate this government.
Okay.
You know, it's well over 5
So
years.
what do you think has been the problem?
The head's a bit too hard.
You think the government is not being open-minded?
No, it's not so much the government not being open-minded, but us Ghanaians are not
Okay.
open-minded, because we've been indoctrinated about cannabis for a very long time. We've been indoctrinated by the people who are now, rolling in its success, in the money that it's generated in the United States, in Canada, in the rest of Europe. And so, we've been told that it's the devil's plant and all that kind of stuff. And we've propagated that type of, it's nonsense, to be perfectly honest with you, excuse me. And so, we think that the people who walk on the streets, sometimes they're not dressed, they're naked, they're growing locks, etc., etc. We say that those people have been smoking weed and they've become mad, and that's why they're doing it. And it's all a fallacy. It's not true at all. It's not true at all. I mean, look.
Is it?
No, it's not true. Look, let me tell you something. Policemen smoke weed. How many policemen have you seen mad? Soldiers smoke weed. How many soldiers have you seen go mad? Civil servants smoke weed. Lawyers smoke weed. Judges smoke weed. Look, it's spread throughout our society, but they do it behind closed doors.
Isn't it the abuse of the substance that is
How do you
problematic?
abuse it? No, it's not. It's not. The abuse of alcohol is much more problematic than the so-called abuse of weed, because at the end of the day, when you abuse alcohol, you become rowdy, you want to drive your car and eventually have an accident, you become misplaced in the things that you do. But if, let's say, for example, I concur with you and say you can abuse weed, when you do abuse it, the only thing you will do is sleep. That's all you will do.
Really?
Yep. That's all that will happen to you. You will fall asleep. Period.
This is news to me.
No, it's a fact. It's a fact.
Okay.
And so there is no correlation between somebody consuming weed and someone being mad, so to speak. There's no correlation between it. No, because if you had you're a pretty successful woman. If you were driving down the road and all of a sudden you had a car accident and let's say you lost an arm, that could trigger psychosis. You could be pregnant and lose your pregnancy. That could trigger psychosis. There are lots of things that can trigger psychosis, but they're not necessarily the cause of psychosis. And we've not been able to get over this principle at all.
Okay.
We've had people who are qualified who have just been pushing this narrative. It's a false narrative all the way, that the cause of madness is the consumption of weed. It's not true. There are many things that can trigger psychosis.
Okay. I've spent just a few minutes with you here, but I've learned a thing or two about the relevance of industrial hemp. Couldn't it be that the education about what industrial hemp can be used to has not been widespread, reason for which Ghanaians are finding it difficult to accept it?
Well, I have a difficulty in putting it across to the media, because you guys are more interested in sensation than anything else.
Oh, that would not be fair to all of us.
No, well, but I mean, it's true. It's true. I've spent over 7 years pushing this narrative of what cannabis can do. And, we always seem to get muddled up between industrial hemp and medicinal and recreational use. We can't get it out of our head. Smoking, 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 smoking. And it's a problem. It's a problem. I've told you that the clothes you wear can be made out of cannabis.
Exactly, but
hemp.
how many people know this?
Well, look, we've been saying it for years. We've been saying it for years, and you see,
But
the
I'm just
problem
finding
is,
out. So I feel like
the
it
problem
just
is,
boils down to the problem that the education bit is not widespread.
well, the education is not widespread because the media don't give these type of invitations often enough. I've been screaming for a round table debate. We've got doctors and lawyers and all these qualified people. Let us have a round table debate where it's 1 or 2 hours, it's covered on the TV, and we can really examine whether or not there's any truth in what I'm saying or not.
Okay.
But which media house will give us that opportunity?
Star FM,
Oh, please.
EIB network.
Please.
We have given you the opportunity
No,
now.
15, 20 minutes.
That's still
I'm
enough
talking
time.
About, it's not, though. It's not enough time.
At least
And you have justified.
it is foundational.
You have justified that it's not enough time by saying you've never heard what I've been saying before. But I've come on Starr FM before.
How many years
I've
ago?
come on Starr FM before, probably a couple of years
A
ago.
couple of years ago.
Yeah, I've come on Starr FM before. I've been on Joy. I've been on most of them. But the time is not long enough for us to really examine what I'm saying, to really look into what I'm saying, to really develop an overall understanding of what I'm saying.
Okay.
And so I'm grateful that you've given me this opportunity, but I've
Okay.
got to tell you, it is not long enough.
Okay.
It's prime time, and yes, you've got lots of people listening. Still not long enough. I need
Okay.
to be back here tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, driving that point home, giving you live examples of what industrial hemp can do, giving you live examples of what medicinal cannabis can do, so that it will really sink in, and you will know that cannabis is not an enemy.
Okay. You said you had a few products you had brought in. Can I see some of them?
Yes, you can. Well, this is one.
Okay. The bag.
Yeah, this bag is one. You can't believe it, can you? Well, I'm not surprised. But this bag is one. It's made out of hemp.
And people need to know that when you own a bag like this, it won't make you high.
No, it can't. And this is why I'm saying, you see, you mustn't repeat this because you're causing the confusion. Because
Oh.
I've already clarified that hemp is different to recreational and medicinal. Yes, cannabis. So once you go back to that,
I just want to rehash
well, it's not good.
to eliminate the misconception.
Well, you can tell
Okay,
can tell your
that's
listeners
good hemp seed milk.
that's milk.
Milk made from hemp.
That's right. And this is water.
Water.
That's made from hemp. Very good for athletes, very good for the elderly. This is wood made from hemp.
Okay.
You see, and the point I'm trying to make about this is charcoal. So
Completely
it-
made
it-
from hemp.
Yes, so it addresses the issue of deforestation and all these things, because our people no longer need to be cutting our trees
Okay.
to produce charcoal.
Right.
Because you can grow industrial hemp and produce charcoal just like that. You see? So these are the points that we need to reinforce. These are the points that listeners need to know. Here's a t-shirt made out of industrial hemp.
This is beautiful.
Of course it is. Of course it is. That's made out of industrial hemp.
Okay.
Here is industrial hemp.
This is it. This is the
it.
product.
This is cannabis. Go on, sniff it. I know that's all you want to do. You want to smell it. You won't get high. You won't get high.
Well, I'm not high.
Now, look at this bag. That's
Solely made from hemp.
Solely made from hemp. 100% hemp.
That's beautiful.
The
I'm
industry-
impressed and surprised.
Yeah, the industry is so big, you have no idea. Well, that's industrial hemp. You know, the industry is a very big industry.
Okay. But are you able to tell me on top of your head how many hectares of cannabis farm there is in Ghana
What, illegal cannabis farms?
at the moment?
No, I can't tell you.
You can't tell me.
No, no. If I could tell you, I'd probably be arrested after this show. Because why would I know how many hectares of illegal cannabis is growing in Ghana. Why would I know that? It's illegal.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Okay. I just want us to drive the conversation around the importance of cannabis. I mean, just like we have for cocoa board. Cocoa board can easily tell me how many
Yeah,
hectares of
well,
cocoa, but you cannot do that.
I don't even bring cocoa board into this because they're not credible.
Cocoa board is not credible.
No, we shouldn't say the word cannabis and cocoa board in the same sentence. No, they're not credible.
Cocoa board is not credible.
That's a waste organization. I'm talking about
Oh.
something. I'm talking about something that's going to create lots of jobs for people. And you can see it goes beyond the cultivation. The cultivation is one aspect. Now when you come to process it to make wood, think about how many workers you need. Now when you come to process it to make charcoal, think how many workers you need.
Okay.
Now when you come to process it to make water, think about how many jobs that create. For hemp milk, think how many jobs that create. For the t-shirt I've talked to you about, our textile industry is dead. Absolutely dead. Industrial hemp can revive our textile industry
Okay.
very, very well.
Okay.
Because you can blend the hemp with cotton, with nylon, with polyester, with wool, and other textiles as well, to produce whatever you want to produce. So just think about how many jobs are sitting here.
I'm really thinking about it, but you know that cocoa, for instance, has been the number one earner for the country in years. So why do you blatantly say that?
Please,
Cocoa board
let's
is not.
let's not divert. They're a failed organization. They're
On-
a failed
on
company.
what basis?
They've never made any profit. A company makes profit. That's why it's there, to make profit. It's never ever one day made any profit. And all the loans it's syndicated doesn't trickle down to the farmers. They're still living like in like destitutes. Right? And look what's happening. It's so bad that the cocoa farmers are destroying their own farms because they're not getting any money from it. But the people who sit in the cocoa board house, they are fine with their V8s and their houses in Trasaco, etc., etc. So please, let's not go there.
Okay.
I'm talking about a new industry, a brand new industry that can help our declining city,
Okay.
that can help our society, that can give youngsters a job. Graduates can come out and start looking at how they can make hemp milk better than it is already, how we can produce CBD infused water better than it is already,
Okay.
how we can make the wood stronger than it is already, how we can produce charcoal for those in the rural areas, stop them from cutting down the trees. And in terms of medicinal, we have a lot of children here who have epilepsy.
Okay. Let me find out from you. I mean, the reason we have been having the conversation is because of this worrying development, galamsey. Tell me about the impact of galamsey on cannabis production.
Well, there's no impact. There's no impact. It's the other way around. We can help the country. We can clean up the water.
Isn't galamsey affecting your farms, for instance?
No, it's not affecting
Galamsey is
our
not
farm.
affecting your
No, I
farms.
don't have a license, so how can it be affecting the farms? How can it be affecting the farms? Where, down in the western region where it's rampant, that's not where we're going to be farming. We're in the Volta region, and we're in other areas.
That is where you be, for as long as you are producing.
Absolutely.
In the Volta region only.
No, not only in the Volta
Where?
region. We have other areas as well.
Where are these
In
areas?
Bono East, in Bono, up in the northern region.
You know there's
up in
galamsey
upper-
going on in
Yes,
all of
we
these
know,
regions.
We know. We are aware.
So-
And we will take steps around it. We will take the necessary steps around it so that it doesn't impact on our farms.
At the moment, there's no diverse impact. There's no
Well,
dire, I
there's
beg your
no-
pardon, dire impact.
No, because we're not cultivating. So we've not addressed that issue yet. But what I'm saying to you, it's actually the reverse. The introduction of cannabis cultivation in Ghana can help to reverse the damage that has been done to our farmlands and that has been done to our rivers and
Okay.
our waterways. This is what I'm saying to you.
Okay.
And as soon as we can get our licenses, we can start looking at these farms, we can start looking at these water bodies with a view to assisting in cleaning it all up.
Okay. And how soon are you looking at getting your licenses?
Well, how long is a piece of string with this government? How long? How long?
Are you still in talks with the government?
Well, they say that they're now looking at the charges and fees. And I believe that Parliament will resume next month, which is just a day or two away. And I think it's the legislation and something committee, I can't remember, and subsidiaries committee that will consider the charges and fees. When they approve that, it will take 21 days. It will become law if there's no chronic objection. After it becomes law, then we can apply for the licenses. You see, and hopefully it won't take long for that to be issued.
Okay.
Once that is issued and we start working on our farms, etc., we will express the interest, and I'm expressing it now openly to government, that we want, Empire Agri Ghana Limited, we want to address the issue of the poison, the toxic poison that is in the land in various different regions, and we want to cultivate industrial hemp there.
With you want to treat galamsey with industrial hemp?
Yes,
Okay.
because it can be done.
Okay.
And we
Tell me about that.
And we can do it.
Because the country desperately needs a solution to deal with it.
Well, it's land reclamation, and this is what I'm saying to you. Industrial hemp is a plant that absorbs all the toxin, the mercury, the cyanide, whatever it is that has been down there. We can cultivate on those lands, right? And it will absorb all the toxins. We will harvest it, and we will make non-consumable goods like this, so that you will still be able to use it, because you can't produce consumable goods like this, CBD, because obviously it would be poison. So we can cultivate and harvest and manufacture and process non-consumable goods that in turn will also be a benefit to Ghana. You see, and reclaim the land. It will take several years. It will cost millions of US dollars. It's not free. But at the end of the day, farmers who got a pittance for their land, for people to go and do small-scale mining and all that, they will now be able to go back on their land and cultivate high-value crops.
Okay.
Now, with the water, it's a process called phytoremediation.
Phytoremediation.
Yes, that's what it's called.
Okay.
And, you know, that is also something, as I was saying to you before, we cultivate on the land leading up to the water bodies. We cultivate on the banks, and where the water is shallow enough, we can put plants in there that we've taken from the nursery that are 8 weeks old, and put it into those water bodies.
Okay.
And it will absorb the toxins, and eventually it will clear the water. Not on its own, because we will need to work in collaboration with other organizations, international organizations who specialize in clearing water bodies, and they may have other ways that they can apply themselves where when we combined, it brings about the same results.
Okay. We are wrapping up, but I just want to find out from you if you are hopeful that someday Ghanaians will embrace industrial hemp.
Yeah, they will. I'm more than hopeful. They will embrace industrial hemp, they will embrace medicinal cannabis, and they will also embrace recreational cannabis. They will embrace it. It's all about the education they need to know. Then they need to be told the truth. You see, and I'm here to tell people the truth. I don't need to fool anyone. You look across the globe, and everywhere else, people, countries are benefiting from industrial hemp. They're benefiting from medicinal cannabis. They're also benefiting from recreational use. There's, in all the other countries, you're not hearing about anybody walking the streets naked who have become mad because they've consumed recreational cannabis. Only in Ghana. Only in Ghana. What, our brain's different to everybody else's brain? No. It's a story that has been told. And the people who are the originators of the story have stopped telling that story in their country. And that is why in Canada, when Canada in 2018 made recreational cannabis lawful, by 2022 they had earned 40 billion in taxes.
Okay.
40 billion US dollars in taxes
Okay.
over a 4-year period after legalizing recreational use. They are the storytellers. They are the people who told us the story. It's bad for you. No, we can't do it. Stop. Blah, blah, blah. Look at what they're doing. They generated 40 billion. We could do with that 40 billion. Even the 3 billion that we're begging the IMF for. If we'd have started this 4 or 5 years ago, that 3 billion would be nothing in terms of taxes.
Okay.
We would have
Nana,
had that money already.
Okay. We are wrapping up. I just want you to give your final words to the government.
Well, that's quite difficult. Just a final word? Well, I think they've done well so far, to be perfectly honest. I mean, despite the fact that our president is reluctant to fight Galamsey, he has given his assent to something that could help to clean up his mess. And so I'm quite grateful that has happened. I would urge them to move very swiftly to sort out the charges and the fees and to issue the licenses so that we can get this new industry on the road. There are tens of thousands of jobs that are available to graduates and non-graduates.
Okay.
And there are lots of benefits in so many different ways in terms of generating revenue for government, and also as well in terms of the environment, as I've been saying to you.
Okay.
The issue of deforestation, the issue of reclaiming our lands, the issue of phytoremediation for our water bodies.
Okay.
So I would urge, let's move with some urgency,
Okay.
please.
Right. Thank you very much for coming. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've been engaging the Chief Executive Officer of Empire Agric Limited, Nana Kwaku Agyemang, and that wraps up Campaign Trail on Starr today.
Starr today. Burst, fast, and credible.
Let's do sports now. And the residents of Bukom can now breathe a sigh of relief as the previously run-down pitch has been fully restored and is nearly ready for use. During interviews with my colleague Nana Agyemang, residents expressed their elation at the revival of football in the community. Here is a more detailed report.
Bukom is renowned for its local delicacy, kinke with fish, and for being a hub for boxing, having produced some of Ghana's top fighters. However, football, which is cherished by Ghanaians, was not a prominent feature. This changed when the government launched a project to build artificial turfs, transforming the situation in Bukom. The government has invested in constructing approximately 150 astroturfs across the country. Bukom, situated in the Odododio constituency, was part of this initiative, with the Coastal Development Authority constructing an astroturf pitch in the community in 2020. This facility, located in the heart of Bukom, was designed to uncover local football talent, having previously produced soccer stars like Stephen Appiah and Lai Kingston. However, just 4 years after its construction, the facility deteriorated and could no longer serve its purpose. Some blamed the government for poor workmanship, while others held the community responsible for misusing the facility. 6 months ago, the situation was different when I visited the Bukom AstroTurf Park, which was undergoing reconstruction for the second time in 4 years. During my visit, the facility was locked, but the damaged iron fences has been replaced and the worn-out artificial grass had been restored. Residents, unable to contain their excitement at the return of football, promised to take better care of the facility this time.
That constructed the park for us, but unfortunately, the residents, including myself,
damaged it. We reached out to them again and they agreed to renovate the park. This time, adding additional facilities such as an administrative office. They also established a committee to oversee the park's maintenance. We have pledged to take better care of it going forward.
First, na fee, ne fiti e ba like na afie e na gbe ba ni wo gbegbe bi en wo bi wa chi aton fi oni
We mishandled the park previously because there were no regulations in place. However, now that the park has been renovated and rules have been established, we are committed to following them.
This time around, they should look for people that they are very professionals, that they have knowledge about AstroTurf, that will keep it good shape for us, so that 10 or 5 years to come, the park will still look fresh and strong.
However, some expressed differing views on the reconstruction of the pitch.
There are no people, we don't have any people that can maintain it in a good shape. If you want to do an AstroTurf, you do it in a place that the people have knowledge about that, which they can maintain it with their knowledge. But here, that we have the AstroTurf, we don't have knowledge to maintain it. We can testify that first AstroTurf has been made here, which they have destroyed, and they have renovated another one. So what sure are we that this one is going to be maintained? What sure are we?
After the old pitch was destroyed, the community was left without a proper football facility. But now, with a reconstruction nearing completion, Bukom is poised for a new beginning. Reporting for GH1 TV Sport, Nana Ama Agyemang, Bukom.
That is my colleague Nana Ama Agyemang there with that sports reports. And that wraps up Starr today here on Starr FM. Thank you very much for your time. For more news updates, log on to starfm.com.gh. I've been doing this with Joshua Kujimensa.
It's amazing why you don't want me to mention my name today.
Mention my name.
Okay. And I'm also here with the ever radiant and intelligent Tutua.
Thank you. I wanted that emphasis on my name. We are back tomorrow with Starr today. Have a good evening.